Hey RT family, Ryan Reynolds here with Keller Williams Consultants Realty with your January 2023 real estate market update. So what's going on this month? Well, this month I like to take a look back, do a little bit of reflecting, and see what went on in the market in the whole year of 2022. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about a few different statistics, and one of those is going to be the number of houses on the market. So how many houses are on the market now? How many were there on the market? What does that mean? That kind of thing. The second thing we're going to talk about is absorption rate. So once you know how many houses on the market, that's great to know, but it's really better to know how fast those houses are going off the market, because that's a much better indicator of market health and where you really where the market's really going. And the third thing we're going to talk about, which everybody always asks me about, is how much money did I make last year? Show me the money is what they always say, and we will show you the money here if you stay to the end of the video. So we're going to want you to do that. Just from an anecdotal standpoint, I would say that 2022 was a weird year. We started off the year crazy. We went from crazy to let's take a break in the summer, and everybody went on a COVID summer vacation. Anyone who hadn't gone on vacation the last 2 years, which was a lot of people, ended up going on vacation because they could. And so things were like a ghost town throughout the end of the summer, like July and August. And then they picked back up a little bit here toward the end of the year, but not nearly as much as it normally does. And I would attribute that to the rise in interest rates, I should say. And then you throw an election year in there, and that just really throws everything off. So personally, I'm glad to see 2022 in the books, and I'm really looking forward to 2023. So let's go ahead and jump into those statistics right now. So the first statistic we're going to look at is the total number of homes on the market. And so as of now, this is early January, there are 3,425 houses on the market. And I'm going to put a graph up on the screen here, and when we look back, you can see that that number has come down a little bit from our peak around 4,300, 4,400 houses on the market that happened from July through October. And then you can see the seasonal sort of decline as we got into December. Now, earlier in the year, our inventory was extremely low, and we were looking at around 2,300 houses on the market. And I say houses, I mean that as all residential real estate. So that's condos, that's houses, that's anything that's considered residential. And so the seasonality of it looks pretty normal, and it's good to know, but 3,400 houses is the number. Now, just for instance, or maybe for reference, there are over 10,000 real estate agents in Greater Columbus. So if you are a real estate agent and you have a listing, you're one of only 3. And if you have more listings than one, you're pretty special. And of course, we have quite a few listings right now. So if you're looking for something, please reach out. Anyway, as we're going through that, that's where we are at the end of or beginning of January 2023, and that's the number of new listings. So now the next thing we're going to jump into is the absorption rate. So if the number of homes on the market tells you where you are, the absorption rate talks about or tells you what the velocity of the market is. And we use absorption rate or months of inventory to tell us whether a market is a buyer's or a seller's market. And so I'm going to put this chart back up here now too. And you can see we started off the year at 0.8 months of inventory. And so that means things were selling in about 3.5 weeks. Everything was gone off the market if you were to stop bringing things on. Now that started climbing in April, and it rapidly climbed up into July, where it kind of stayed the same. So things kind of evened out there in the middle of the summer again because of the COVID vacations, and then it dropped back down in terms of the end of the year. Now what that means is statistically things were moving off the market extremely fast in the early part of the year. They slowed down a little bit, and then they sped up here toward the end. If I want to give you a little bit of a point of reference, a balanced market would be considered 4 to 6 months. And we are sitting now at 1.2 months of inventory. So we are still in a seller's market. Granted, it's not as strong as it was in the beginning of the year, but still a seller's market. And if you're thinking about selling a house, that's a good thing for you. So that's what absorption rate looks like. So I think I may have fooled you a little bit. I said 3, but you're actually getting a 2A along with a third one. So this is number 2A, and that is days on market. So the statistic for days on market right now is 29 days. So if you're in Columbus and you put your house on the market, the average is 29 days. And I can tell you that most homes that we sell are not anywhere close to that. They're much quicker than that, though that time has been elongating. If it's going longer, it's most likely because the condition is not as good or your price is too high. And a lot of times clients, or I should say sellers, will choose not to lower their price fast enough. And if you get into a falling market situation, what that does is it produces a longer days on market. Things are still selling, however, it's taken 30 days. Now, that is another reference point. If you look back at 2008, 2000, maybe 9, 10, 11, I think we peaked out somewhere around 180 days. So we're talking 6 months versus about a month. So 6 times, more than 6 times the amount of time it takes to sell a house on average. And so things are still looking pretty good. And if you look at the graph for days on market, put that back up on the screen here, what you're gonna see is that things sell fastest in the summertime. Actually, maybe call that spring, late spring, early summer, and then they slow down toward the end of the year. And that makes sense, especially this year because things were kind of weird toward the end of the year after interest rates really started raising, and that's where we ended up. Okay, so the last statistic we're going to talk about today is the one that most of you care about the most, and that is how much percentage-wise did you make in the last year if you own a house? Well, that number, drumroll please, is 11.1%. And so what that says is if your house was worth $100,000 last year, this year it is worth $111,000 and $1,100. So it's pretty good investment. I think you look at the stock market this year, and the stock market did a pretty bad thing. I mean, it went down, I think 25 to 30%. If you're in technology stocks, you were even down farther than that. So housing looking like a really good investment this year. And if you have a house, you're probably feeling pretty good. Now, one thing interesting about percentages is that as a percentage goes up, or if a percentage remains the same across different price ranges, if you had a more expensive house, you made more money. So rich getting richer, and I guess that's just part of the way it is. However, that would tell you that if you're thinking about trading up, if you do it now, you might actually make more money than if you wait later on. So that's what we have for you this month, RT family. That's what's been happening in our market right now and what happened in 2022. If you have questions about what your house is worth, or if you have questions about what's going on in the real estate market, please feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to customize a solution for you. And as always, it's the Ryan Reynolds team, unlimited opportunities and exceptional experiences.